joining me. My name is Rebecca Kramer, and we are here to record She Hustles, my podcast. I'm here with KC Ashmore today. KC, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I think it's this afternoon for you as well.
It is. It is. It's such a privilege to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And awesome. Just so stoked about it. And we already got a viewer. So
Yeah,
thank you, viewer,
welcome.
for jumping on. And again, thank you for welcoming me here. And I don't know what time it is when everybody's going to watch this, but I'm so thankful to be part of your team, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this broadcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Casey, we know each other. We know each other mostly from Clubhouse, from 10X, of course, 10X, which is Cardone's community. And what you do nowadays, so you come into our Clubhouse room and we role play and we network. But what you do as your career, you are a U.S. veteran and a trial lawyer as well.
Correct. That's right.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Well, I am a proud veteran of the United States Coast Guard. I did search and rescue for a little bit more than 4 years, and that's not anything special in the United States Coast Guard. That's everybody's job. But that was the good beginning, the great beginning that really set me on a path for freedom through education and success. And I'll never forget my first at bat that was given to me by Chief Petty Officer Cozy Calloway. Thanks, Chief, for giving me that shot. And, 4 years later, came back out of the military, had money for college, went to law school, was a single dad for many of those years, have two beautiful grown daughters, and now I'm an attorney here in North Texas, have two little boys now, and just feel blessed every day to be able to do what I do. And my main motivation to go to law school was I wanted a job that I could stay in the rescue business. And that's definitely this job.
Very cool. I just got us added to Instagram Live as well, just in case there's anyone that hops on from over there.
Hey, IG.
Um, yeah. So such a motivational, I mean, purpose, right? The fact that you knew that you wanted to serve, um, that you knew that you needed to be able to help people. I mean, not all of us on this earth have the I don't know, you luck, the wealth to be able to serve people, and get paid to do that. You know, that's one of the best things that you can possibly do, serve and get paid to serve.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say if I were to take you back, um, you know, where did this thought of I want to serve people, I want to make sure that I'm helping people, where did that start?
That probably started in the Boy Scouts of America. I was a Boy Scout lifeguard, and when I started looking for ways to get cash flow for college, not a lot of prospects when you're, in the upper percent of the bottom quarter of your high school class, and was more interested in lunch and talking to girls than I was in studying, but was always an incredibly hard worker. And let's face it, when you're looking for young men and women who are going to get on a boat that is on fire or is sinking and then watch your boat drive away, you may not be recruiting from the top of the class, right? So
Different
smart kids may not get on that boat.
different people are interested in different things.
Right, right, right. So just I had some experiences as a young person, had hit my own tripwires, and I had my own experiences where lawyers made a difference in my life, and I'm very thankful for that. And as I was progressing through my education, I had a professor who really mentored me. He was an attorney. He was a professor of American legal history, and he absolutely convinced me that I must go to law school. And I did, and I think it was the best decision I ever made. I'm so glad that I was that he really impressed upon me that this is the way for you to serve, to keep serving.
I think it's so important that there are these people that you take action when there's somebody that you can get your message across to, because obviously he was helping you, right?
Right.
So that's, I mean, that's a big deal. And how has that impacted you? So yes, you decided that you would go to law school. How has that decision, I guess, impacted the rest of your life?
I mean, to me, every day is just a blessing. I was able to go to law school, finish, graduate, get a job with one of Texas's two highest Supreme Courts. Again, I got another at bat from somebody who probably I didn't deserve it, and she didn't need to give it to me. But Judge Barbara Hervey, Honorable Barbara Hervey, Court of Criminal Appeals, Texas, thank you for the at bat, Judge. We are still friends to this day. And it's those formative years of experience with her and other judges like Judge Elizabeth Ray, who was my boss in law school. These leaders really taught me a lot about how to be a boss, how to be a person worth working for, a person who endears loyalty to her people, or his people, and that has been an absolute amazing experience, and really a great start. And then there were other mentors along the way, whether they were formal mentors. I had a supervising attorney, Al, and I'm not sure if he'll want me to use his last name, so we'll just say Al is his first name. And he told me once that he was talking about when you do something great for a client, it's like a little paycheck to the heart, and it doesn't always have to materialize in something tangible like a dollar or a check or a retainer. What you're looking for is that little win. You're on that little stage with that individual, with that human, and you've done something to really move the needle in their life. And that's a paycheck to the heart. And I never forgot that lesson. And I use that saying a lot because that's a lot of, and I think maybe one of the reasons why we all connect in the 10X community is that we do realize that there are so many little commissions in life, which is one of the lessons from the 10X super life, and all parts of that is that not everything is about the success in your wallet or in your bank account. That's clearly relevant, but it's a lot of the success that you get just from that little paycheck right there to your heart.
I never heard of it called that. That's pretty cool. The paycheck to your heart.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've especially learned, like, over the last year, I mean, if you're giving outflow, it just equals inflow. So the more you give, the more like, and I tell my clients, the more visible you are, the more that you're giving, the more that you're teaching, the more that you're serving, the more people are going to trust you. Right.
Right.
And that's something that's so important, especially, with your career, with what you do. And I just wanted to mention someone. So a couple people are on Instagram. Go ahead and actually, if you guys want to Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, go ahead and send this live to maybe five people who you think need this, that would be interested in making sure that they get this content. Because I mean, Casey, you're obviously successful in the role that you're in right now. Someone's here says thank you for your service.
That's very kind. Thank y'all. It's an honor. It
And
really was.
honestly, it's an honor to have you here with me, Casey. So another question that I wanted to talk to you about, was something that happened to you that you had to overcome.
Yeah.
Which, when I first heard this, I was like, wow. So Casey, something happened. You start from the beginning. Tell us about this.
So, a few years ago, still on my list of goals. There there's a goal I write down every day that I'm a tour around the world. And for those of us who are motorcyclists or bikers, we know what that means. Tour, ROW, means you're going on a bike around the world, and a lot of that's inspired by people like Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman and their predecessors. You know, Travels with Jupiter, Frederick Simon, and I've ridden most of the Americas at this point, and that was one way that I would, you know, challenge myself to be better every day and take on a bigger experience. And so when I took on South America in early 2020, completed just an amazing trip through Patagonia, most of it off road, and or much of it off road. And then on the last day, 42 miles from the airport, had a really bad crash, broke my back, broke my hand, broke my foot. And, fortunately, I was wearing all the gear. And, it turned out after 2 weeks of bed rest that the injuries were not nearly as bad as they could have been. And, but, it's not romantic like they make it in the Batman movie when your back gets broken. You're not
Mhm.
ready to fight Bane after a few weeks in prison. You're banged up for a bit. And, that took a couple of weeks in a wheelchair, a couple weeks in a walker, a couple weeks on a knee roller, a couple weeks in a walking boot. It was a struggle to get back. And I was a runner for many years before that. I loved running. I ran about 2 miles a day. And, to go from that level of physical activity to no physical activity, and then immediately thereafter, the coronavirus pandemic starts, which it ain't over,
Yeah.
right? It was a daunting time, a time where your mindset could really get rattled. It rattled a lot of people. It rattled mine, you know, and ironically, you know, that's actually what started the idea to wear the red, white, and blue every day and wear a three-piece suit every day, even if I was sitting in my house, because look good, feel good, do good, as my buddy Doc Brannigan says. And just taking pride in coming to work, and even if you're just zooming with your coworkers, you're really, you're doing the best you can with what you can, but making sure that you're, setting the example, even if it's only for yourself, right? So where you're winning here. And that's that's the beginning of a long recovery. And it took a couple of months to figure out how, things go back together. I did run for a while, but my doctor recommended not doing that. He's like, you don't need to do that to your back anymore. You're almost 50, blah, blah, blah. So don't do that to your foot. And, you know, he challenged me to do some other types of exercises. I row every day now.
Mhm.
And I love that. I've actually fallen in love with that. And I'm thinking about getting, a sculling boat or something like that so I can actually take it on the water. I live near a lake. not
Very
as big as the Great Lakes, but the other thing is I was blessed. I was able to complete a 5K. I was not the fastest in my age group, not by a long shot, but I finished. I didn't stop at all, and I ran the whole 5K, which was, for me, that's a huge accomplishment. Thinking a little over a year and a half ago, I was in a wheelchair. So
Wow. I didn't realize it was so recent.
yeah, it was February of 2020.
Wow.
It was February of 2020, and um, it was, yeah, it was a, and kind of a blessing too, right? To come back from, be 11,000 miles from home,
Yeah.
come back, but 42 miles from the biggest hospital in that part of South America. It was like a 5,000 bed state of the art hospital. If that's not a universe thing, a God
Yeah.
thing, I don't know what everybody's beliefs are, but I will say this: there are no atheists when the ship is taking on water. Just fact. No atheists when the ship is taking on water. And, you know, Napoleon Hill would call that infinite wisdom. That's how he referred to God. And a lot of people have their own idea of it. But, that crash happened 42 miles from the airport, 42 miles from the end of the trip, and 42 miles from the biggest hospital in that part of the world. 5,000 beds, state of the art, English speaking doctors, educated in the United States.
Hmm.
And I just feel like that was everything in alignment,
Yeah,
right? And
for sure. I mean, it sounds like it could have been maybe a lot different than it was. But you must have, I mean, with that much recovery, like what kept you motivated? Because just so you, like most of the people who might be tuning in are small business owners, are entrepreneurs, and motivation,
yeah,
I mean, I can only imagine the effort that it takes when it's your life and your body, let alone, just getting up and going to work.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Motivation's hard. And, you know, I feel real fortunate that I mean, I'm surrounded by people who love me. I have a family that loves me. I have children that love me. So being motivated to provide milk money, that's an easy one. That's an easy one. You know, for those of us who are parents who are blessed with children, and you know what it's like to be responsible to provide for your babies, and that responsibility will wake you up out of the deepest sleep you've ever had, because you got to get up and make that breakfast and get those kids out the door and get them to school and shape their young lives. So that had a lot to do with it. But I also was very blessed to have a team, and we had a smaller team back then in early 2020, but a team nonetheless. And that team of young men and women, I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to lay anybody off. I didn't want and that was a huge concern of mine. And I knew that the corona pandemic just terrified a lot of companies, and especially in our business. And some law firms shuttered their doors forever and have never come back. They're doing other things. They work for the government in some other capacity. And it's that's not something I wanted to do. I wanted to provide as long as I could, as hard as I could, as much as I could for the people and the families that were part of um, our family, right? Our work family. I wanted to make sure that they had jobs, that they had food on their table, that they had a roof over their head. And so that got me up. That got me motivated. That is, and then I don't know if you guys get inspired by this, and Miss Rebecca, tell me, you know, when you're competing with yourself yesterday, that's my competition.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing better than you were doing yesterday? And every day to me was a chance to get closer to running again, to get closer to riding again, and getting back to that dream of riding around the world, making that happen.
You're still gonna do it again?
I've been on one motorcycle ride. It was relatively short. I escorted my friend Johnny Wilson and his group of veterans. Their ride is for special forces operators and their families, Gold Star war that those killed in combat, mostly in classified operations, and they have there's not a whole lot for their families, right? There's not something to make sure their children are raised in the way they envisioned. So my buddy Johnny Wilson does this ride called Coast to Coast across the United States and ends at Arlington National Cemetery every year. And it's been my privilege to escort them in a few times. This year I did it on a motorcycle. It
Cool.
was 104. I told him next summer I'll be in the truck with the air conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still cool that you took that opportunity, right? That you got that opportunity, took that opportunity. Um, and that you like honestly, you've done so much. It's been such a short time. Like you really should be proud. Actually, there's a comment here. Star says, amazing that you were so pushed to stay open. I love it. We look forward to seeing you ride again. That's
Oh,
really nice.
thanks. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
So kind.
And I think, when you have a vision, when you have like the motivation, especially, I mean, you talk about your kids, you talk about, um, different things that you're getting to do now. And it's almost like it's like the way that you're talking about it, it sounds like it's, you're excited for it to be a first again, which I think I think even as entrepreneurs, a lot of us just get bogged down with how am I going to get through this? How am like I can't even see that far ahead to where I'm excited for something that I'm missing out on. What
Yes.
advice would you give to someone who's in that? Because obviously you've done that well.
Yeah. That's when you're looking ahead. I think you've got to build in what you want to do for fun. You've got to build in your reward for your mind as
Hmm.
part of what you're building for your empire, whatever that may be, right? Whatever your vision of your business success, your personal success, your professional success, your financial success, there better be some fun in there, because you're absolutely right, Rebecca. You're going to check out mentally. And I know that a lot of us in the 10X community have had a lot of other informal mentors, and some of us had formal mentors. I would, I would, I think everybody here ought to read Donald Miller, one or two of his books, in particular, The Story Brand. But he's a fantastic author. And one of the things that he talks about in his writing and in his broadcasts and in his informal mentorship and formal mentorship, and you see this in our 10X life too, is that you've got to envision what that fun thing's going to be, right? I mean,
Hmm.
like, I want to go to Mongolia and ride Mongolia because there's only 200 miles of pavement in Mongolia, and
Cool.
it's the biggest wilderness in Asia and maybe the biggest in the world when you consider that it's actually bigger than Alaska, which is unbelievably. Y'all are in Canada, so y'all have wilderness that is on a scale that really most people in the world cannot even imagine. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely beautiful. We're about 45 minutes from the mountains, so from Banff National Park. So
Oh wow.
there you can like there's some beautiful lakes, and you can see animals like regularly, mountain sheep on the hill, or deer, or I mean, even in our city, we live close to the river, so there'll be I've seen moose on our street. And moose, I don't know if you know how big a moose is. It's like it's pretty, well, I mean, I'm
They're
a little,
massive.
yeah, it's
They're
probably like
they're
around my, I don't know, my size?
yeah, they're
2?
4 to 6,000 pound animals, and
Massive,
massive,
massive, massive.
massive, beautiful animals. And I saw a few in Alaska on a motorcycle. That's not something you want to get too close to on a
No.
bike. Ridden next to a buffalo in Yellowstone National Park, and a moose will dwarf a buffalo.
Yeah, they're pretty
And
massive.
I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful animal, though. And seeing them in their natural habitat, or any animal, seeing a condor fly across the road about 20 feet in front of me in Argentina, and it was a baby, it was a juvenile, and it's this there it was, went right across the road, chasing a rabbit or
I
something.
know. When we were in Bolivia, there was condors, and I remember, and they circle. They
Yes,
do. They circle. It's
yeah,
interesting. It's interesting to see things that we're not used to. Really interesting to see. So I'll be watching to see that you get your trip to Mongolia. I'll definitely be excited for that.
yeah. I'm putting it out there, Dan Patino, Andres, Ramon. Come on, guys, we got to do this.
Yeah, you're gonna get going. How do you think that this accident has has impacted the way that you do business?
Well, I think that there's uh, there's been an absolute sense of urgency. I can tell that I read the 10x rule 4 or 5, maybe even longer years ago. Don't remember. And I loved the idea of massive action. And I felt like I saw a lot of that take massive action already in myself. But coming back from that accident and
Like
coming
I
back
saw
from
a
that
lot
trip,
of that take massive action already in myself, but
got some
coming back.
feedback. Sorry, Rebecca. Is that me or you? I'm
I'm
sorry.
just, I apologize. I don't know if it was me.
Well, let's try.
Is that me? Are you there? Can you hear
I'm
me?
here. I'm here. Is that
Okay, fabulous, fabulous.
sorry
Apologies,
about that?
apologies. Okay, so you were talking about,
I just doubled down on the level of activity. It made me move from massive action to what I now call rescue speed. You know, when that alarm goes off at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're just grabbing your search and rescue bag and you're gone. You got to be on that boat in less than 2 minutes, and that boat needs to be underway in less than 2 minutes.
hmm,
So you're moving at rescue speed, right? And if you don't have it when you get there, that's too bad. You deal with what you brought, right? So whatever you have packed up, ready to go on the boat, and I feel like that level of urgency, that's what that did to me in business, was bring a level of urgency to get it done now, to get this built now, to get this expanded now, to get this business blown up now, right? To spend that time with my kids right now,
hmm,
that level of urgency, to spend that time with my family, right? Whatever that may look like, get it done now. You know, planning to plan, and planning, moving at
yeah.
even a massive level of action, right? That wasn't good enough for me anymore.
I mean, I think it's crazy to think that it would take like an accident to like impact that. I mean, I hope that people who are watching can take this as, you know, an opportunity to start moving at rescue speed without the accident. Start moving
Yeah.
at rescue speed. That's like
Yeah.
an amazing visual. And I think you mentioned something about this this chance or this one chance. You know, I was listening to, I don't remember if it was a podcast or Clubhouse, um, and there was someone who was saying that we actually die three deaths. So we die three deaths. So the first death that we die is when we're a child. You know, when you first, you know, think of think of something, as you become an adult, you're not thinking like a child anymore. So that's the death of being a child. And then there's the death of our physical body. But there's one more death after that. And that's the death of our legacy, of people not remembering us, of people, you know, not being impacted any longer by the things that we were saying. And I feel like, you know, if that flashes in front of you,
Wow.
you unfortunately had to go through that, right? And so if we can learn from that and try to actually run at that rescue speed right now instead of having to learn and then having like, you know, I don't know about you, KC, but I want that third one to be like a long ways after.
Yeah. I'm actually taking a note because that's so profound, and I've never thought of it in those terms, but that's
Yeah.
very impactful because the death of your legacy, right? We want that, right? We're all trying to and aspiring to be legendary and
Mhm.
leave a legacy. Leaving a legacy is actually a goal I write down every day, right?
Yeah.
Along with be legendary. Those are two of my goals that I write down every day. And
I love
and
that. Very cool.
your oh, this is very profound. So I'm gonna take some rescue speed action on that. Love that. I love the thought of that. You know, how big is that legacy going to be?
Yeah, after your physical body is gone, because that's gonna it will happen for all of us, but
Yeah,
there's still one more part.
yeah, and you know that we're in control of all those things. Well, except for one, right? The youth thing, right? You know, and coming back to that, you know, you got to tap into that youth. You know, you're not as young. You're not as young as you think you are, and you're not as old as you think you are. And you know, there's absolutely no reason to not be physically capable of riding 16,000 miles around Asia. Not going to do it in one stretch, obviously, because
Yeah,
I need to get home, raise a kid, you know, get
yeah,
him on the school bus, be responsible, be a good husband, all the things, be a good leader,
yeah,
member of my church, my community, my social groups. But being able to physically do that. You trained recently for a big physical challenge, which I thought was amazing, and I love it. And you know, taking things on, even at different
yeah,
chapters in your life, you know, just lets you know that you've got another level. You've got another level, and
yeah.
you can find it.
It's interesting. I feel like, you know, when we take these things on, it's like we're challenging, like, even if it's physical, whatever it is, we're still challenging our brain because there's something needed to get to a certain to get to a level of, well, I'm physically fit enough that I can sit on a motorcycle for that long, or I'm
Yeah.
physically fit so that I can, get into a ring. And I didn't get to. I'm so frustrated that ugh, that she pulled out. But
I'm
anyways,
sorry, but you know what? There'll be another opportunity, and
exactly. And
you'll be more ready for it.
well, and I think the fact that now I know, like I know that I could, the thing in my mind that I always think about, like if I want to do something and I believe that I could do it, I just have to make myself do it. And it's nice to have gotten myself there and know that I can get there. So like I feel confident that I could do it again. It was hard. Oh my gosh. It was hard. Just I mean, I can't even compare it to what you have to get where you need to go.
Yeah.
Um, but it does. It's the mental, the body stuff that comes. You just have to think that you actually want to do it, and you'll do it.
Yeah, that commitment, right?
Mhm.
That commitment to excellence, to transform your body, to, you know, getting ready for Alaska. I think I was running, I don't remember how many miles I was running a week, but I knew that Alaska was going to be hard. I knew South America was going to be hard. And I had an injury right there at the end, but
Mhm.
I think I was doing at least 12 miles per week. You know, you just a lot of physical endurance, and, getting ready to take hits and be hit. Something fascinating takes me back to my youth, although we were doing it without gloves, right,
Mhm.
without pads, because we were either getting bullied on the playground or being bullies on the playground, right? So no
Mhm.
good reason to do any of that fisticuffs, but still it was fun. And I do remember doing drills in karate and taekwondo, and absolutely love that, and never trained for a combat experience quite like what you went through, where you're stepping in a ring. But I love that you took that challenge on, and you'll be so ready for the next one.
I sparred a girl.
I
I
know.
sparred a girl that I didn't even know, like in real life, like we were punching each other.
That's so that is so cool. We can go to Bolivia. I am in. I want to
Oh
see the
man,
Atacama Desert. I want to see Machu Picchu. I'm down. You know,
there's lots of really really cool. Oh, you're seeing in the notes here,
yeah, in
Jose.
the notes, and there's
Yeah,
actually the most dangerous road in the world is in Bolivia.
yeah, Death Road. We
Death
drove. We
Road.
we had a driver that drove us down Death Road. So for anyone that doesn't know how Death Road works, is it's a road, like often a gravel road, that's just on the side of a cliff. And so what happens is often there will be only one lane of traffic. So how it works is if you're going down a hill, whoever is the one that is going down has to reverse along the edge of the hill. So the person who is heading down has to reverse onto the edge to let the next person go by. There's waterfalls, there's different things that are crossing. Um, it's so actually the crazy thing is that Jose's dad was a politician, and there's a new road, and Jose's dad was the one that had the new road put in to replace that scary road because people die on it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a frightening road, and I've been down some dangerous roads, and
Yeah.
that's what I've seen there. There's one other one that's in the Himalayas somewhere, and it's literally a goat trail that you can fit small motorcycles on.
Yeah.
I think
Like
I'm out on that one.
this one is, I mean, we had a driver, like I mean, I trust Jose's driving, but it
Yeah.
was nice to have someone who was used to the roads. Like it was beautiful. At the same time, there was butterflies that I had never seen. Like bright colored butterflies. It was cold in some spots and really hot. Like there was on the mountain, like across, I think there was even like, someone had made a pattern out of and it was the pattern of a llama on the side of the hill. I remember, like it was definitely a fun experience. Oh, you would have so much fun in Bolivia. Like I did really enjoy Bolivia. We got to see so many different things, so many things that we don't get to see here.
Yeah,
Um, and it's definitely a beautiful, beautiful country. So yeah, we'll have to all go back there soon.
that
But,
sounds awesome. Let's
so
do it.
Casey, last question for you. I wanted to find out from you, what are you the most excited about right now, either right now or for the next year? What are you the most excited about?
The, wow. Well, that is a hard one. All right,
Hmm.
good stumper question. So we have a a group that we started mostly to keep our social networking that had been shut down because of COVID relevant. We started the Patriot Business Alliance, where we basically took our informal meeting. Rarely was it a happy hour. It had really graduated beyond a hour, which is kind of how it started, just a social gathering after work. And then it turned into a live weekly broadcast talking about business development, business growth, mindset, keeping the force of average out of your business, of your home, of your heart, and
Hmm.
really overcoming all of the challenges, right? The tripwires, the roadblocks. And one of our catchphrases that Doc Ranigan came up with is like, no matter how hard you're working, the devil's outside doing push-ups. You got to battle every day against the force of average. This group had its first live event in August. It was an absolute smash. We should have done it 10 times bigger. It cash flowed,
Hmm.
which means we didn't have to outlay money. It paid for itself. And that's really what the value was. And we did it before the big respike with the Delta variant. We're very lucky to be able to pull that off. And we want to blow this thing up. We put it in our broadcast last night. Let me rephrase that. We are blowing this thing up. We're going to make this thing as big as we can get it, to make that legacy last well beyond our physical bodies. And that's the most exciting thing. Obviously, my personal goals for my family, for my children, my wife, the four of us, my daughters, that's all huge. But this is the thing that I'm excited about, that makes me wake up every day excited to write the next goal, the next mission, the next piece of content, to take this Patriot Business Alliance and really make this thing the vision that we have for it.
I love that. And the event that you have in December, is that through this same alliance?
Yes, yeah. So, the reason why we it started out as a veteran only organization. It was part of a chamber of commerce. And what we ultimately decided is that veteran only is too limiting. Yes, the three of us who started it are veterans, but most of our friends are not. There are, I think all 93% of the United States are not veterans.
Hmm.
So we felt like it was too veteran centric. We wanted to expand it. We started our own company, called it the Patriot Business Alliance. But again, the key word being alliance, because you need a team of teams, right? If you think about any success that any team has, it's through being big. right?
Hmm.
A team of teams, right? That's how the military forces work together. They all work together to support each other in some different way.
Yeah.
And you need that in business, right? And what we wanted to provide was really the mentorship for young entrepreneurs like ourselves who had been in the school of hard knocks, and to try to save them some of those tripwires, some of those lessons, to really give back to them through this weekly live broadcast, often with a guest speaker, not always, but
Yeah.
often. And then of course we
I
have,
wish I had that. I wish I had that when I was, like
yeah,
I wish I could rewind and have learned about these things when I was younger. So
me
that's
too.
great that you guys are doing that.
Me too. I wish that there was some, like, I wish that our Chamber of Commerce did that,
Hmm.
right? And it's really cool to be part of a really dynamic Chamber of Commerce. And they do have great guest speakers and they have great members, but they don't have what we craved, which was, how do I get the how do I take out or reduce the painful lessons in starting and scaling a business,
Yeah.
right? And you know, what is the right room to, we want to be the right room, right? We want
Yeah.
the right for you. If you're starting, growing, scaling a business, we want you in our room. We welcome you to get in our room. And we say this every day, and I'm going to put this out there. If you need to reach me, my phone number is 972-834-9360. 972-834-9360. You can call me, not 24/7, but 25/8. Just kidding. There will be times I won't take a phone call, but I'm inspired by my mentor, Mike Bassett, who hands out his number at the end of every one of his
Wow.
communications, every one of his trainings. And I'm going to do the same thing. If you need to reach me, reach me. And that goes the same for everybody in our alliance, because we can't get where we want to go if we don't help other people do the same.
Yeah. It's it's so true. I mean, like we said earlier, outflow equals inflow. The more that you give, the more that you serve, the more that will come back. It's absolutely true. Well,
Awesome.
Casey, I appreciate you being on She Hustles with me. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
KC Ashmore, thank you so much. And for everyone else, thanks for joining me. So next week, of course, join me once more at 2 p.m. Eastern or 12 Mountain for my recording of She Hustles with my next guest. So thanks for joining me, Casey, and thank you.